Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Total COVID-19 cases in Nigeria rise to 276 as NCDC confirms 22 new patients today, bringing the total number of states affected by the pandemic to 16, plus the FCT. 15-member Chinese medical team arrives Nigeria to assist the nation in its efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Police arrest over 70 people in Lagos as many residents in the nation's commercial center continue to defy the order on restriction of movement. And COVID-19 pandemic wreaks more havoc across the world. Death toll in Spain rises above 14,000, while confirmed cases in the United States nears 400,000. Plus, we'll have business, sports, news from Abuja, the FCT, and of course, later on, international news from our London studios. Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Do subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser. Or you can download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android, Fire TV, and Roku as well. And we're talking about exemptions to restriction of movement. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has faulted the arrest of 2 pilots of Caverton helicopters by a Port Harcourt Magistrate Court. Mr. Sirika, who was speaking at the Presidential Task Force briefing on COVID-19, explained that it was wrong for the state government to have carried out the arrests within federal government-owned properties without clearance from federal authorities. The pilots were arrested for allegedly violating the executive order issued by the River State Governor aimed at checking the spread of coronavirus in the state.
Civil aviation is on exclusive list. Item number 3 there. So no other person but the federal government has authority to legislate upon. So also the Nigeria Air Force, part of armed forces, is also on exclusive list. There's no other person but the federal government that has the legal right to legislate upon. So the Air Force officer who jumped the commander-in-chief and ignored, who also jumped the chief of defense staff and ignored, who jumped the chief of air staff and ignored, to call a governor to come into the property of the federal government belonging to Nigeria Air Force to make an arrest, has exhibited dangerous ignorance and incompetence grossly. So the police that followed the governor also to go in there has also exhibited dangerous ignorance from our perspective in civil aviation. Whether we gave approval for the flight, yes, we did. And we did in national interest. All of those flights are for the purposes of improving the national revenue, to which River State is the greatest beneficiary. So those flights by Caverton, by Aero Contractors, by ARIC, by Bristol, and a couple more were for national interest and improved national revenue. At a time when oil has gone below $30 and the cost of production is $30, in the wisdom of President Muhammadu Buhari, he thought that this be allowed even in this national pandemic so that the nation will not be crippled.
The International Airline Transport Association says there's a possibility of airlines collapsing as most of the companies worldwide have run out of cash. With an estimated global loss of $252 billion, some airlines in Nigeria have asked members of staff to proceed on unpaid leave as the COVID-19 pandemic persists. In the first of our series of special reports on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, we kick off tonight with a look at the aviation sector. Our aviation correspondent Bukola Jo Oketumbe reports.
From London Heathrow in the United Kingdom to Changi Airport in Singapore and the Muritala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos is the story of empty terminals. With international borders closed, domestic travel suspended and lockdowns in most countries, The International Air Transport Association increased its global estimate of lost passenger airline revenue from the pandemic to $252 billion as at March 23, 2020. The boss of the global body says airlines are in dire straits. Nigeria's estimates are also staggering. The International Air Transport Association says Nigeria would lose about $474 million and 91,380 jobs. With 76 planes parked in the country and the airlift of 3.5 million fewer passengers, some airlines have asked their staff to proceed on unpaid vacation, an action the chairman of the House Committee on Aviation, Nolim Inaji, condemns, but one or top stakeholder says is inevitable.
Ordinarily, what is the length of a vacation? Vacation 20 days, 25 days, but never know how long this is going to take. And when the offices are back now, how long will it take the aircraft to be in the air? And of course, there's going to be a lot of apprehension after COVID-19 about people wanting to travel.
So how will the industry bounce back?
Aftermath of COVID-19 will require the government looking really deep into the aviation industry to see the sort of support that can be given, the same attention that is being given to the farmers just because we need them to produce. It's the same kind of attention that should be given the aviation industry.
While airlines across the world have negotiated lines of credits to help them move forward, here in Nigeria, the federal government may have a duty to see to the survival of local airlines post the pandemic. Bukola Joe Oketumbi, Channels Television News.
Let's get a bit of perspective on this issue. Joining me live is the Managing Director of Aero Contractors, Captain Ado Sanusi. Thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
Captain, how are you holding up, just from the perspective of dealing with airports and airspaces being closed for commercial business?
Well, we have never seen this kind of situation, and nobody can tell you this is the kind of action you will do, because we have never experienced it. This is a total shutdown of the aviation industry globally. When Ebola came, it was only on the certain region like West Africa. When 9/11 came, it was again a certain region, North America. But this is a global pandemic, which we don't have, nobody has experience in it. And as you have mentioned, the figures are staggering. And these are the figures that we are now seeing. We don't even know how the figures will look like, let's say, in the next 2 to 3 months to come. I believe the pandemic will be probably under control in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But believe me, it is going to be a very difficult, extremely difficult situation for us at this point.
Well, let me just put it in a bit of perspective for you. I know you talked about globally, but at least here in Nigeria, IATA, is estimating $474 million, and that was just for the 2nd of April. We've gone past that now. But more troubling is when you look at the amount of jobs that are involved. For those who are worried at home about their jobs in the aviation sector, do you think these jobs will be recovered?
Well, first of all, the figure has been revised. It's now 760 million. That is about 277 billion, and it will continue to be revised. For the workers that are at home, definitely things will have to be done. I mean, we cannot allow over 22,000 or probably more than that of the industry to just go like that. I believe a holistic approach must be looked at. I believe that the all stakeholders, the private sector, government, and a regional and African solution, even global solution must be looked at. It's not going to be only for Nigerian aviation. But what I believe is the only silver line that I can see, this is another opportunity for us to reset and then get the aviation industry back on its feet.
All right. Managing Director of Aero Contractors, Captain Ado Sanusi, thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
And when the News at 10 returns, NNPC GMD says market forces regulating current price regime of premium motor spirits. Do join us again.